want to be remembered? And I thought his answer, of course, was just perfect. He goes, I want to be remembered as being a good teammate, respected by all the coaches and my peers. I want everybody to know I love the game of football.
And the Denver Broncos have taken Super Bowl 50.
Beer, Broncos, and
Hello
no BS.
again, Broncos country.
Welcome
Really
to
excited
Beer,
to chop up some
Broncos,
Broncos.
Orange Weekly. No politics, just football.
Since an early age. Now since 97, I ain't miss a game. Came up with TD and Rod Smith. I was riding with the team when they got the chip. Before the Chevrolets and the Lobster. I remember Elway's helicopters. I remember. I'm telling you that man was a monster. Way before he had his hands on a roster. Way before. He turned the Broncos to a powerhouse. So you know I got a shout out to Johnny. Elway, he important, man. He the reason that I'm always rocking orange, man.
What's up, Broncos country? Kev Dan here from Orange Weekly to talk some Broncos football with you guys. And seriously, tonight's question is we want to hear what your take is, your no BS take on the Broncos this season. And we got a lot of stuff to talk about. We do want to cover some positives. There are some positives. They may not be necessarily their positives for this season, but maybe some individual positives based off players' situations. But obviously, we all know the main situation. We're 0-4. Things are looking bad. But before we get into the discussion, before I bring David on here, remember, guys, Orange Weekly, we have all of your Broncos content that you need. We got a pregame podcast, a postgame podcast. We got shows. This is normally the Tuesday night show, but we had to do it tonight instead. We got the pregame live show on getvocal.com, our halftime hash. Guys, we can keep going and going. And I don't want to forget to mention Ray's new show, Ray's Wagers. Anyway, if you want to know the betting lines for the day on the Broncos game, he's doing a whole lot better than the Broncos, and he can give you some really good insights as to what the betting lines of the day are. So make sure you check that out. Saturday night, Sunday morning time frame. But with that being said, here we go. David, how's life, man?
Man, I'll tell you, it's about as good as it can be considering the state of our football team right now. It's, I mean, everybody in Broncos country saw it yesterday and for the past 4 weeks, and it's just been miserable. And now, you know, the news comes out today, you know, we're blowing it up a little bit. Some players, some veteran players are going to be traded, big names that everybody knows, and we'll get into that a little bit more later. But, you know, Emmanuel Sanders said last week, we're living in a world of suck. At 0-4, basically, we're in a universe of suck. But there's kind of a zen to accepting that, you know? If you can just kind of go with that and realize it's going to be that way all season, I mean, that's where we are from now on. So if you can make a certain peace with it, it's going to make at least watching the season a lot easier.
Exactly. We got a ton of people in here, guys. I'm going to try and get some of these comments, questions going here in a second. And guys, before I do that, make sure you hit that share button for us. If you want to give us a rating on Facebook, we'd appreciate that as well. I know the Broncos are not doing very well, but hopefully we are in terms of bringing you guys some fun content and whatnot. But we got 47 of you up in here right now. Questions and comments are flying in, so let's start breaking this down, David. Luke, one of our favorite people here at Orange Weekly. How you doing, Luke? Says, I can tell y'all that I've never seen Broncos country in such despair leaving the stadium yesterday. This is the first time in 20 years the Broncos have been 0-4. So, yeah, I could believe that. Philip says, what's the weather back home? Well, I'll find out when I go to Colorado tomorrow. Luke says, for all your callings for Elway's job, I ask you this. Who's the replacement? And FYI, no Manning takeover with Brittany Bolin. Check out Mile High Report. Follow my podcast, Broncos on the Rocks, the great podcast. Listen to ours and then listen to Broncos on the Rocks. They're very equally good. But that's a good thing, David, for us to start talking about. People are calling for everybody's heads right now, including John Elway. With that being said, what is your thought on? I think we have very similar takes on the situation, just like Luke said. Who's the replacement? So what are your thoughts on the whole Elway situation? Just let's start from the top and work our way down, man.
Yeah. Well, now I'll tell you, you don't fire him right now, obviously, but when you ask the question, who's his replacement? Maybe it's time to start looking, to start evaluating guys across the league. If maybe, you know, if there's one or two out there that you really, really enamored with, because at a certain point, you know, we've gone through quarterback changes, we've gone through coaching changes, we've overhauled the personnel of basically the entire team outside of a few core veterans. And the only consistent part of it has been John Elway, who has now, you know, 2 consecutive losing seasons, and we begin this season 0-4. It's that there's one constant throughout all of that, and it's John Elway. Now, of course, he hasn't, you know, this is not an Oakland Raiders situation where he has set this team back decades or anything like that, you know, and he's got, you know, there are some very good core pieces on this team, especially now, finally on the offensive side of the ball. How long have we been waiting for that to be true? But, you know, now that there's finally good young players there, and that's, you know, credit to Elway for that. But, you know, if you're going to credit him for that, you've also got to credit him with everything else that's going on this year, and that's including the bad stuff. And there's plenty to go around. You know, if it's not Garrett Bowles, 5 penalties 1 week, it's a killer, you know, pass interference call or just third down or fourth down late in a game, keeping the opposing team out of a field goal range, and they just can't keep it going. Guys getting injured, you know, it's always something. This team is just holding itself back at a certain point. We've seen it all season long, and, you know, not all of that is always fault. He can't control what the players do, but he does control at a certain point which players are on the roster. And when they go out there and can't execute for one reason or another, this consistently for this many years, you've got to start looking at the top and say something's not right there.
Agreed. Dylan, how you doing? We're going to get to your comment. Some bad news that broke today for the Broncos. We'll talk about that in a second. DP says, time to tank for Tua. Fire sale. We'll break down. We'll get your thoughts, Dave, in a second here on that. He says, hey, guys, how you doing? Hank, go Broncos. That's what I want to hear more of. I know let's get your no BS take, but let's get some go Broncos up in here, too, because I think we all need some positivity going our way. Joey, how you doing? Hank says, we are in so much trouble. And Joey says, you can't handle my take. I want to hear your guys' take. I want to hear it. I don't care how rough it might sound. But let's start with the breaking news that came out here today. David, Bradley Chubb, done for the season with a partial ACL tear. Obviously, you know, where I'm sitting here, this wasn't going to be a season that we were going to be able to bounce back. Now, Red Cloud, one of our big time fans, how you doing, Red Cloud? Thinks that we're going to go on the 12-4. I even joked about this today to my boss, you know, who's an Eagles fan and gives me crap all the time. I said, hey, boss, don't worry. We're going to go on that 12-game win streak. And about 15 minutes later, I got the notification on my phone. So looking a little rough.
Don't say things like that to your boss anymore if you want the players, any of the rest of the players, to be healthy, Kev.
I'm just going to shut up. Shut up.
But
what do you think about obviously losing Bradley Chubb hurts in a number of ways. But what do you see the team going from here with Malik Reed, and what do you expect from that position in general right now, aside from on the other side of Von Miller?
Well, you know, it was kind of the perfect end to a perfect day, a perfect weekend. Great. Now, and it just when we thought, you know, this is as low as we can be, we were reminded, no, it can get much worse. And so now we've, you know, a very promising guy, you know, finally notched that first sack yesterday, has been playing the run well all season long. You know, been getting home on his pass rushes more often than not, even if he hasn't been getting sacks. Like I said, finally broke through that sack barrier and just now gutting news. So, but we've got to move on. It's kind of next man up at this point. It sucks that he's not going to be able to develop for the rest of this year because, man, he's been turning into a really, really good player. And, you know, watchers of this show will know that I'm a firm believer that he was going to turn a big corner this year. So it just stinks. We're not going to get to see it, but now we are going to get to see the undrafted rookie out of Nevada, Malik Reed, who, you know, undrafted rookie making the team, never an easy thing to do for a guy like that. And, you know, smaller guy as a pass rusher, but quick, got his first sack yesterday. So obviously has great potential, had enough, you know, you showed enough in preseason and training camp when we saw him flash plenty of times in preseason to keep him on this regular season roster. And now he's going to get a chance to show what he can do really quickly. You know, the Bradley Chubb injury was one reason that I thought I gave a little bit of credence to that. Something we mentioned a few minutes ago, that the Broncos were going to be trading some veterans very soon. Now, Benjamin Albright, who's one of the guys who knows, he's an insider's insider as far as NFL football goes, is saying that's not true and there's no basis for that particular rumor. So let's, you know, throw that out as conjecture for now. But it wouldn't surprise me if the Broncos do kind of start to go that way, especially with the loss of a young player like Chubb on defense. Give some more guys on defense like DeMarcus Walker, some guys who really have to kind of prove it out there, a chance to step up and show what they can do. You know, Walker flashed a couple of times in this game. If he can put together a consistent season, that's going to help the Broncos going forward because they've got a young core on offense right now of guys that are coming together. But on defense, honestly, the drafting there in the last couple of years has been rather suspect. Guys like Isaac Yiadom are barely holding on. Guys like Brendan Langley, who we drafted in the third round to be a cornerback, no longer with the team. So it's just, you know, we're going to see a lot of reps for these young guys in the season going forward. It's time for them to step up and make some plays.
And that's not necessarily a bad thing because you look at our depth. We don't have a depth to look at. If we can get this might be somewhat of a, I don't want to call it a blessing in disguise, but it could pay off in the next couple of years. You get these young guys, hey, just throw them out there, get experience, see who has real, you know, NFL game quality type of play that's consistent. And these guys get that experience, and we kind of really figure out who is, you know, who can be those solid backups and who can really add to the depth moving forward, and what positions are we really hurting in, and hopefully that evaluation will turn into the draft, getting, you know, the players we need. If we keep drafting at least okay, if not more than okay, you know, this team could get built up pretty quickly, is my take on it. But you're right, it is next man up. Red Cloud said there was civil war in Broncos country after that loss, people blaming Elway, but Elway didn't lose the game. But I think, you know, what we were talking about earlier was, you know, no, but there's a little bit of blame, at least a little bit, going all the way around. Elway isn't getting fired until the ownership mess is fixed, and I'm not really savvy in terms of exactly what's going on with the ownership dispute. All I know is it's not good. I'm hoping in the next 2 years, at the most, it's resolved and Brittany Boland is taken over. And we can kind of get it going from there. But what is your take? How big of an impact do you think it's having on the team that we don't have an actual owner?
Well, I mean, for, you know, the product that we see out on the field, probably not very much. I don't think it affects the players that much at all. They gotta, as far as the owner goes, Pat Bowlen was really a player's owner, but a lot of times players don't see the owner at all except for the signature on their check. So I'm not as worried about it from a player morale standpoint or anything like that. But I do think at the top levels of the organization, it does create quite a bit of turmoil to just not have this resolved, to have this situation dragging on, tied up in the courts. Like you, I'm not as savvy as with this kind of thing. I'm really kind of watching for the product on the field. But it may very well be possible that we don't have a clarity in the general manager position until that ownership nightmare kind of gets cleared up a little bit. And I hope, we get a resolution on that, like you, sooner rather than later, no matter how it goes.
Hey guys, my name's Kevin. I'm joined here by with David here tonight on Beer Broncos No BS. If you haven't done so, grab that beer, grab that whiskey, booze in general, whatever you need. Tonight's show is hosted by Wendy's, unofficially, with some bourbon in there, mostly bourbon. But I'm glad you guys are here tonight. Hit that share button for me. I'm glad all 51 of you guys are in here right now. This is fantastic. I'm not going to be able to get to every single one of your comments, guys, but I am reading them all. If there's something you really want me to talk about, please post it again, and if we have time, we'll get to it. But either way, appreciate everyone posting on in here. Luke over here says, Malik Reed is going to step in for Chubb and produce. Watch the film, Rookie's no joke. And that he's quick, he stays low, great balance, and look for steady progression from the rookie. So he did have one of the, 4 sacks we had last week?
5 at the end of the day, yeah.
Yeah, 5 at the end of the day. Different. I think Miller had the 2, and then the other 3 came from other people. And even then, Von Miller had 6 quarterback hits, which I don't think we've had any quarterback hits until this last game either. Yeah. So do you expect this pass rush, even with Malik Reed in there, to continue progressing and looking good and giving us those opportunities for those turnovers and the chances to win the game?
Yes, I do. I think that's one thing we're going to keep seeing consistently is the pass rush. I don't know if they'll get better. 5 sacks in a game is pretty good for any game, much less for a team that hadn't had any to start the season. But, it's just I do expect it to keep progressing slowly. Von Miller's probably not going to be held sackless a bunch more times this season. He's definitely going to look like he looked yesterday more often than not, I think, from here on out. And I do expect Malik Reed to produce too. I think the rookie, like the comment said, the film shows that. He's a guy who's going to come in and give us a little bit more in that pass rush position than maybe we are expecting him to. I think he's going to get a lot of chances to develop this year. And under a guy like Fangio, I think that's why you hire a guy like Vic Fangio to turn those guys into productive players on defense. We're all going to miss Shaq Barrett as he's tearing it up in Tampa, but he wanted to start somewhere, and bless him. Good for him, because he's showing that he deserved the opportunity. He wasn't going to get it here with Bradley Chubb and Von Miller in front of him. So now we've got, Malik Reed's the next man up, and I'm excited to see where he can go from here on out, as well as the rest of the pass rush. I think Von Miller's got a lot more in him to show, and I think we're going to see the defense come together a little bit more. They've got to stay healthy. I mean, really, and that's another thing that kind of has just been killing us all season. You can't control injuries. Everybody in the league's got injuries, but with a team like this, and we knew at the start of the season that we just didn't have that much depth outside of the starters. So when guys like that start to go down, it's just, when you see Duke Dawson's in there, who played honestly pretty well for a good portion of the game, but he was also victimized on that last drive. On that third down pass that got the Jaguars not only into field goal range, but eventually into touchdown range. We saw him get victimized there. So, just one of those things where we're going to see some good and some bad mixed in with some young guys this year. Like we said, that lack of depth is really kind of what's killed us as much as anything else.
Do you think – so I think everyone noticed the run game for Jacksonville really started going off after Josie Jewell went down and out for the game. And I think, do you think that was really what caused because Fournette, we all saw it. We all saw what he did.
Sure.
Do you think that was a cause of Josie Jewell going down? And either way, I think that signifies how terrible of a depth problem we have right now, because one guy goes down and all of a sudden, running back that hasn't had 100 rushing yards in a game for years now, all of a sudden breaks, I think it was upwards of 180, almost 200. Yeah, that 180-yard, run down the field. But even then, you're talking about, negate that, you're talking about 120-plus yards in a half. Yep. So what's your take on that, man?
Well, and it's, Jewel is a guy who, in the run game, that's kind of his forte a little bit. He's not as quick in the pass game, but as an inside linebacker, he's good at flowing into those holes and making tackles. And, you can't blame the entire second half on just missing Josie Jewell.
No.
But I do think that, that's probably part of one drive where if you get one tackle there on one drive, instead of missing a tackle, I saw a stat. We had 15 missed tackles in the game. 14 of them were in the second half. And so, it's, maybe if one tackle on one drive forces a punt on a third down or a second down that forces you into third and long, you can say what if all day. But a much bigger part of it was the fact that the defense was on the field for, 90% of the third quarter. The offense just went to bed. They scored their 17 points, and in the third quarter, they just went to sleep. Now, I understand, of course, Jacksonville makes halftime adjustments, but you got to go out there and beat those adjustments. You got to execute on the offensive side of the football after you've been executing the entire first half. You've got to not stop running the ball. I thought it was very strange how little we ran the ball. Philip Lindsay had very good success running the ball yesterday. Royce Freeman didn't find as many holes, but I thought we kind of went away from the run really early when we started to have success in the pass game. And then never went back to it in the second half. I was really, really puzzled by that. And that, unfortunately, those 3 and outs, just 3 and outs to begin the second half on the offense, and that was it. I knew the defense was not going to be able to hold up that rushing attack, and it was, it just kind of went downhill from there as Leonard Fournette ran downhill right through the middle of this defense.
That kind of ties into, so Dennis, first off, how you doing? JT Moore, you're posting a lot of stuff. I'm reading it all. You have some really good takes here. Malik Reed is the truth. I've seen it on preseason games. He can be the final piece for our defense too. I don't know if we're taking too far of a step backwards from going from Chubb to Malik. And that's a good thing. I'm not saying that Chubb isn't good. I mean, Chubb's Bradley Chubb, right? And he's going to be a future all-star. I mean, Pro Bowl player. He's going to be the next Von Miller for the team, if you ask me.
Yeah.
But going from, man, if you think 3-4 years from now we got a Chubb and Reed, pass rush, that,
yeah.
I know, man. I think I like it.
It's good, and it's that's at least one area where we've always been able to cultivate at least a little depth as pass rusher with, which is really nice. Jorge says offense isn't scoring or sustaining drives. Field goals in the red zone is not going to get it done. Should be at least 2-2, maybe even 3-1. Defense is wore out by the third quarter. All good points, and really, just kind of goes back to what we've been saying a lot, is that this team just can't get out of its own way. They can march down the field into the red zone, and they even did better in the red zone this week. They scored touchdowns while they were there, but it's things like Joe Flacco throwing a pick. Just a really boneheaded interception at the end of a half that totally kills your momentum, or just stuff like that you just can't have in a game and succeed. And they keep doing it. It's not just the kind of thing where, because we have seen this team get better week to week, but that is one thing that we have seen consistently stay bad, is their inability to get out of their own way, to not make a costly penalty at the wrong time, not make a weird turnover that doesn't make any sense at the wrong time. It's just they can't stop doing it, and it's not getting any better. It's why we're losing games more than anything else. Well, I mean, not more than anything else. There's a ton of reasons, but it's definitely one of them.
Let's see. Raymond, glad you're here even though you're trolling us. Man, must suck to have nothing else to do. Luke, I've said it a million times. Royce Freeman should be a feature back. Lindsey's your playmaker, a.k.a. Tyreek Hill. Don't need Phil between tackles. Give Royce the ball 20 times, and I promise he's over 100 yards. So here we see the Broncos splitting touches between Royce Freeman and Philip Lindsay. It seems to me that, with Philip Lindsay's speed, he's supposed to be more of an outside rusher. But they even talked about during the game, like he wants to be that guy that lowers his shoulder and, goes up the middle, goes through that offensive line. Yeah. It seems to me like he's having more success with that than Royce Freeman. Now, is Royce Freeman the type of guy that needs to, be doing that 80% of the time to get that going?
Yeah, and that's one thing. Royce Freeman may be, a guy that gets better as the game goes along. And, Royce Freeman is not a guy who starts games badly. I shouldn't say, I don't want to make it, because he had some success against Jacksonville yesterday too. mixed in with some tougher runs. But, he's a guy I think that has still kind of to find his style in the NFL a little bit as a running back. I think he is finding it this year. And I think you're seeing that as he's had pretty decent success when he's given a lot of opportunities, but he's still really establishing himself as a physical runner, establishing that reputation in this league. And Philip Lindsay is just doing a little bit better job of it right now. Maybe, and he has an advantage because he's so small, and so people don't expect him to be able to do that. So when he runs as tough as he does, and the announcers, that one thing they were talking about all day for Philip Lindsay, like you said, he was finishing runs moving forward. He was lowering his shoulder, plowing into guys. He wasn't shying away from contact or finding the edges, the out of bounds line. He was plowing ahead for more yards. And he does that consistently week to week. You see it. He does it really well. The coaching staff doesn't want him to be doing it as much because that's part of the reason he injured his wrist last year. But at the same time, he's really good at it, and he looks really good doing it. And it's on an offense, or on a team where not everything is going well, and you're having at least one guy having consistent success, playing physical, taking it to the other team. You don't really want to discourage that, because that kind of sets the tone for the rest of your guys, especially when guys aren't playing that well, like on a team that's 0-4.
I think there needs to be something that changes. And at this point, look, I love Philip Lindsay, but I think if you have Royce Freeman your feature back, and you go up the middle, or go on the inside of the line over and over and over, at least, I mean, not every single time, but then when you add that element, that surprise element of Philip Lindsay, I think that's when you're going to really catch the defense off guard, because you don't know. Is he going to go up the side, around the outside, or is he going to go up the middle? Either way, man, that defense is already tired out. You're giving Royce Freeman a break. But, I mean, Philip Lindsay, I think if you use him in that capacity, man, you're going to see him get more explosive runs more often than if you're having him, there's no real workhorse for the Broncos, if you will. It's split between the two. And I think if we lean more on Royce Freeman, that's just going to help out not only him, but Philip Lindsay as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, and it's, it's tough because at a certain point, you want to keep both of these guys fresh for their careers. These are both really young guys, and you don't want to run either of them into the ground in a season that means nothing. So, having a long-term injury to either of these guys in this season, it doesn't make any sense, obviously, to have long-term injuries in any season, but especially in a season where you're already 0-4 and you're not going to be playing certainly for postseason or any kind of implications like that, unless things turn around magically. And, it happens in the NFL. But at this point, what we're looking at is what you want to do is keep young guys like that, get them experience, obviously, but keep them out of harm's way as much as possible, too. And I don't mean sit them or anything, but just keep them in situations where they're going to be able to play their best football, and keep them out of stupid play calls that are going to be risky and not yield much in the long run for the team.
Let's see. Neil, how you doing? He's another long-term supporter here. Whatever works, we stop doing. Team's been its own worst enemy. We talked about that. The roughing the passer calls were a difference between 2-2 and 0-4. I mean, I can't disagree with that. But, a lot of people focus on, and I think even in the moment, when I'm emotional and watching the game and just all fired up, right? Yeah, that roughing the passer call, whether it was, minor or terrible or an actual call, okay, that's what killed the game for us. That's what gave them that 15 yards, and that's what put them in field goal range. But let's look back to this game specifically, David. Man, we were killing it in the first half.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't remember the last time I watched a Broncos game and it was like legitimately having fun, because we knew how big of a game this was, and we were showing everyone who we were.
Yeah.
And then, so do you think there's a resiliency problem? Because everyone's saying as soon as we threw that interception, that's when everything went to hell in a handbasket. But I have trouble believing that one interception is what did it for us. But even there, you look at it, the offense literally could not do anything. The defense literally could not do anything after that until that final drive, which I don't understand how the offense can put together a beautiful, game-winning attempt at a drive and get that touchdown. But they couldn't do anything else before that in the second half. Anyway, a couple questions there. But, man, what was the mindset? What is going on with those guys on the field?
Yeah, I mean that's it. It's when that happens, and when you see something like that happen in the second half, it's on the coaches and the players both. They, maybe came out a little complacent at halftime and ready to kind of hold on to the lead. I can't really explain. I mean, but they kept. One thing I'm going to go back to again is just the complete and total utter lack of run game in the second half. We just kind of didn't try anymore. The ball was coming out of Joe Flacco's hands quickly. But he just wasn't having success. I think they adjusted to what we were doing in the passing game very well, and we did not adjust to their adjustment until it was too late. Honestly, that was the end of it. And when they were able to come back at us with some fourth down drive or some third quarter drives that were just, I mean, how many plays were these drives? They were 15 plays, 12 plays, eating up 8, 9, 10 minutes of clock because Leonard Fournette was just running it through us, not just at us, but through us. At a certain point, your defense can't do that anymore. And those 3 and outs, like we said before, just killer in that second half. We didn't see any offensive production whatsoever. And from then on, the defense was kind of just doomed. Run defense, JT says the run defense got chewed up big time. That needs to be adjusted. Boy, it sure does. They hadn't looked that bad at any point to this season so far. I don't want to say they didn't face a running back as talented as Fournette, but they really hadn't. Aaron Jones, of course, we know what he can do, but he's not that type of player yet in this league that has that kind of reputation for continued excellence over the years. But so maybe we just hadn't faced as good a rusher as Fournette yet, but it can't be placed all on one thing like that. For when a guy goes off for 150 plus yards on you in a half, like I said, that falls on the coaches and the players not executing.
I don't know if there's still a cultural problem that we thought had been fixed, a mindset problem that we were hoping would have been fixed with Vic Fangio taking charge. But Pedro brings up a good point. And how you doing, buddy? It says might be getting a little ahead of agenda, which I think is a perfect actual opportunity to move over to this. But what do you guys think about the rumor stating Sanders, Harris Jr., and Wolf are going to be traded soon? It was floating around the Broncos group. We saw that too. But you also keep in mind, I don't know if everyone's mentioned this yet. They might have. I just might have missed it. But Chris Harris Jr. had reportedly told Denver Post today, I only have 13 games left. And that right there, especially coming from a veteran player, if that doesn't give you an insight to the locker room, I don't know what does. Sure. But so with that, kind of what's going on in the locker room, but with this rumor of people being traded, you think that's something, it's time to do that, man?
I mean, now look, I take a little bit of a view on that Chris Harris comment like this. A guy who didn't get the commitment that he wanted from the team, who was ready to commit to the team in the offseason. The team wasn't ready to commit to him. And, to be fair, from the team perspective, he hasn't produced very well this season. He has not looked that great out there on the field. Is there any part of that that's due to him missing the offseason program? It's impossible to say now.
Not at this point, no.
Right, yeah. But so, I do think that if we do start to see some veterans go this offseason or even during the season, it's not going to be a surprise to me, especially if they get decent, mid-round draft picks, third round, fourth round, fifth round picks for some of these guys like Wolf, Harris, Sanders. I think you're going to see the team execute some of those deals, because those guys are all free agents. The guys I mentioned specifically, Wolf, Harris, and Sanders. And while we did hear Pedro to your specific that rumor, we did hear that too. But it does sound like I said, Benjamin Albright, NFL Insider, says that there's no truth to those rumors as of now. But I wouldn't be surprised to see some of that start happening in the future. Because honestly, like I said, they're going to want to see what these young guys can do at a certain point. I think they're going to want to see if some of these young guys are going to step up. Some of these draft picks that have been, like DeMarcus Walker, who's shown potential, but really haven't lived up to a billing like he, a second round player should. They're going to get a lot of reps this season, I think, whether or not we see some of those guys get traded. And I would not be surprised if none of those three guys are in a Broncos uniform next year.
Yeah, I mean, and so Greg says, why would trading veterans help out the team? That's sad. And I think the only reason that we would be really considering that right now would be because it's not going to help out this year, but we're looking to next year. And do I think that we're going to trade these players in the next week or two? No. But before the trade deadline, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, look what happened to Demaryius Thomas last year, you know?
Yeah.
Hey, if we can get some, by the time these injuries come around or halfway through the season, some teams are like, oh man, we're on the edge of really, making a run for the playoffs. But we really need a cornerback. We really need a veteran wide receiver or somebody, defensive, whatever. That's what teams are like, hey, we'll give you like, a second round pick. We might give you a second and a third round pick for this guy. And that's where it's like, well, look, our season's dead. You're saying the same thing I believe. These guys are probably not going to be around next year anyway. But in the offseason, why give those higher draft picks for a player that, well, in the offseason, you have plenty of time for free agency and the draft. But when teams are in win now mode, okay, now it's going to help them get to that playoff push, but it's also going to help us for next year.
Yeah, and I want to temper expectations just a little bit if we do see any of those kind of trades. The guys we're talking about specifically probably aren't going to net you any more than a third round pick tops, just because of the fact that they're rentals, and after this season they're free agents. So you're not going to get a lot of team years of control. There's just not a lot there as far as the Broncos have on those three guys. As far as leverage, a guy like Von Miller who has a bunch of years on his deal, and I'm not saying they're going to trade Von Miller if they should trade him, but a guy like that is the kind of guy who you can expect to see, a first round pick or something for, outlandish stuff. Having said that, mid round picks can help your team. I mean, that's where you build your depth on a team, and for a team that has very little depth like we do, you've got to start hitting on some of those picks, and a good way to do that is to make sure you have a few more of them. So you may see that, like you said with Demaryius Thomas last year, that was a move that helped the team. I couldn't believe we got a fourth round pick for him. So if we get equivalent offers for some veterans who aren't going to be here next year anyway, most likely, I can't say I wouldn't. I would object to them pulling the trigger on those.
I like how you said rentals. They're rentals. I've never thought about that. But you're right. they're just rentals. They're stand-ins to maybe help out for that, this year's playoff push or something.
Right.
But
yeah,
it makes perfect sense.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. If those guys aren't returning, the responsible thing would be to look at trade options. Yeah, and that's what we're talking about, Pedro. Is it might be time to start doing that. We'll see how the next couple games go, and that's really going to decide, hey, what do we want to do for the future? Neil says we need to challenge some of those horrible calls against us. Unfortunately, we can't. The only thing we can really challenge is, pass interference. But when it comes to those things, we legally cannot challenge, pass or roughing the passer or something. That it sucks, but that's the way it is.
And there were, a roughing the passer call that went our way the other day. I think there was at least one call that went our way yesterday that was really kind of like, ooh, was that? That was a little ticky tack. Of course it stands out worse to us because ours happens late in the fourth quarter when they're trying to get in the position to win the game. So, but it's one of those things. The Jaguars had a ton of penalties yesterday and managed to overcome them. So, it's that kind of thing where at a certain point you got to go out there and win a game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Andrew, says, how about trading for a quarterback? And Andrew, you can go ahead and tell Linnea that we'll trade you Garrett Bowles for Patrick Mahomes.
Any day of the week, yeah. I'll give you 17 first-round picks for Patrick Mahomes right now. I'm not even kidding.
No. Yeah. We'll give you Garrett Bowles for him, though, if you want to make that. Now, giving Garrett Bowles some credit, that interception, I can't remember whoever intercepted that pass. He was just running around the field like crazy, right? Garrett Bowles, if you
twice before he actually made it, but nobody else was tackling the guy either. So,
right, but Garrett Bowles, I mean, how many times do we see him actually rushing and like having hustle? He got knocked down, got back up, and rushed over to that guy to freaking tackle him because nobody else could. I think we probably had 2 or 3 missed tackles on that single moment alone.
And you know what else? Credit where credit is due for Garrett Bowles. No holding penalties.
That's 2 games in a row. That's his 4th NFL game.
Yeah.
With no holding penalties. 2 in a row.
Let's see. Let's make it 3. And
make
here's
it 3.
to you, Garrett Bowles. God, bless you, because we need it.
Yep.
We need it, but I mean, at a certain point, it's like even with the two weeks of no holding penalties, we didn't win the game. But at least it's nice to see improvement from a guy who 2 weeks ago we were talking about shouldn't even be a player in this league. Keith makes I think a really good comment here. The players are just as frustrated as us fans. They say dumb stuff in the heat of the moment, and that is something that we have got to keep in mind as fans at all times. The players, no matter how bad we feel as fans watching this, the players feel worse. No matter what, the players are the ones out there trying their damned hardest every single
They're
week.
the ones on the line. They're the ones on the field. They're the ones smacking, running into these other brick walls of players. Yeah, I completely agree.
This is their job, and they know when they're not doing it well enough to win games. We all know how bad it feels to know you're not doing well at your job and to have other people recognize that you're not doing well at your job. Now imagine millions of other people are recognizing that you're not good at your job, all right, or that you're not doing well at your job. Not necessarily that you're not good at it, but you're not executing it to your full potential. They can see it, they're watching it, and they're judging you every single week. That's got to be grating. That's got to be really, really tough. And so for these players to come out every single week and give their goddamnedest to give us a winning product, I mean, I know the product on the field is not winning right now, and it sucks. But they feel it more than we do, and they know how bad it is for us. Let's at least recognize how bad it is for them.
Tracy says, "Don't forget, it took Manning a minute to find his rhythm with this team." Look, Joe Flacco has some good moments, but I listened to what he was saying about that interception, and essentially, because I'm not going to quote him on anything, I can't remember exactly what he said, but essentially what he was saying was he thought Sanders would be there, and he wasn't, and then he thought he saw someone and assumed it was Sanders, and it wasn't.
Yeah.
And so the other plays up to that point, like he was on the money for them. Yeah, some of them weren't completed, but he was looking really good. I mean, we were moving the ball very consistently, making some very good runs, very good passes. And in that moment, he seemed to not know who was supposed to be where and who was who.
Yeah.
And so, the way I see it is, dude, you're the quarterback. You're a veteran quarterback. You're a Super Bowl winning quarterback. This is 4 games into the season.
Yeah.
I mean, I expect those guys, they're human too. Okay. They're human too. They can make mistakes. But in a team that's struggling like this, we bring him in to give us a fighting chance, and he doesn't know where his players are.
Yeah, I mean, really, and that's, when I watch that play over again, it doesn't seem like Sanders is the one who doesn't know where he's supposed to be. And, we're all laymen here. We're all just amateurs having fun watching football and talking about it. I don't know that for sure. But to me, it seems like Sanders was not expecting the ball to be where it was thrown if it was meant to be thrown to him. There was a guy behind him. Deshaun Hamilton was in that vicinity. I think he's probably the guy that that Joe Flacco thought he saw. But he was not, and he was throwing it to the path that Emmanuel Sanders should have been. He just threw it 2 feet over his head, and in order to get it to Deshaun Hamilton, who was not that far along in his route. And I think that's something that I've said it for a few weeks now. I think we've seen peak Joe Flacco. We saw really, really good throws out of him. We saw him execute in the red zone at times this last game, which was really impressive. But we also saw an interception where he and his guy were just not on the same page, and it looked like it was on him a little bit. And you've seen that kind of throughout his career, even going back to the Ravens in his really good, productive years. He just maybe 1 or 2 times a game, something doesn't click. And when it happens like that in this league, that's going to be a turnover an awful lot of times because the guys you're playing against are just too good, So this team's just not good enough to overcome those kind of mistakes when they can't stop shooting them themselves in the foot with other kinds of mistakes. That's the kind of thing, if you play flawless football for the rest of the game, you can overcome that interception.
Right. There's no reason why you couldn't.
Yeah. Or competent football, not even flawless.
Average football.
Yeah, if you play average football for the rest of the game,
you win that game.
Yeah. So, but they couldn't. They could. A lot of other things fell apart there. Defensive guys fell apart. Offensive guys fell apart at times. It's not on just one guy, but that is kind of a pivotal moment where you look at it and say, man, that's the kind of thing that a team like this just can't overcome right now.
And I think it's close for us to start moving on past this game, but my closing thought, and there's still some good comments, but and guys, we're gonna close out our thoughts on this last game before we move to next week's game. But once you guys start posting some of the positive things you've seen, we've been dogging on the Broncos and dogging on, we've talked about some positive things, but what are you guys looking for in this next week's game? And we'll talk about those here in a second. My big thing was we have finally seen what we knew this team was capable of in that first half. Even if they only played 3 quarters like that, we would have won the game. But to see both our offense and our defense come out completely in shambles for essentially an entire half. In fact, the defense never got to it.
No.
Even, man, when we got that last touchdown, and they should have been licking their chops, going, okay, this is our time to shine. We've screwed up this entire second half. This is our time to go out there and get us this win that we're dying for. And it wasn't there.
Yeah. They didn't have that. They didn't finish, and none of the team finished. The offense didn't finish. The defense didn't finish. And closing up this game, I think we should talk about all that first half. I like that you talked about that first half because one of the comments and one of the things that I really observed was that was my best case scenario for the Broncos this year. And that was my best case scenario for the team starting the season, was that half of offense. How the team looked in that half was how I thought if we were going to be an 11-5 or 10-6 team, I thought that was how we were going to have to look from start to finish, from game 1 to game 16, 17. And it just, we've all been watching. It hasn't happened that way this season. But I thought, if we're turning that corner now, at least we can kind of get into a position where we're playing for a 500 season at the end of the year, maybe even a little bit better than that if they can play that way consistently. And just like that, it was gone. So I think we kind of got snapped back to reality of this was the team's potential, and this is where the team really is. It's the second half is not a true representation of what the team is as a whole, because the second half was really terrible. But as much as that's the case, the first half is not a good indicator of how good this team really is. They're just not that good either. So they're not as bad as they were in the second half, but they're not as good as they were in the first half. And it's just not a recipe to win a lot of games this season as we're going forward. And who do we have coming up this week?
Got the Chargers on the road in LA. And so, guys, before we start breaking this next week's game down, remember, please go give us some feedback on Facebook. We got tons of Broncos content for you guys. We got the pregame podcast coming out later this week. If you go donate to our Patreon, patreon.com/orangeweekly, this next week we'll be giving away this next month's prize of a Broncos jacket, as well as one of these Mr. B pins and some Broncos stickers as well. So I think this next Saturday night, we're going to be giving away that Broncos jacket live here on Facebook to those who donate to our Patreon. Even if it's $1 for 1 month, not only are you entered into this month's prize, but the end of the season prize as well. And any support you guys can give us in that field, you're not putting money in our pockets. What we're trying to do is get better equipment and bring you guys even better content than as we possibly can. So patreon.com/orangeweekly. Anything you guys can do, we'd really appreciate it. And in general, you guys are fantastic to begin with. So next week, playing the Chargers.
Yeah.
We're moving on. What the players are thinking. They're professionals. They're grown-ass men. They're going to go out there. They're going to be fighting for, another win. Even with all these injuries and everything that, that's going on in the media and, Broncos country, not in shambles, but very upset. Rightfully so.
In various states of meltdown from,
So, David, what are your thoughts as we head into this game playing the Chargers this Sunday?
And I'm seeing a couple of comments about the tackling, which is absolutely right. Straight up, right on. The tackling has not been good. And that was a kind of a theme last week against Green Bay as well. And unfortunately, it reared its ugly head again at absolutely the worst times for our team this game. So that's kind of the one thing I'll be focused on to see. I am sure the coaching staff will be absolutely focused on that this week on defense. Vic Fangio is known for not allowing or not being patient with missed tackles, with poor tackling technique. He is going to hammer it into these players one way or another. You're going to tackle a guy. If it's one-on-one, if it's you versus him and behind you is open field, you're going to make that stop. I don't care if there's 3 guys behind you to help you make that tackle. You make that tackle right now. And that's one thing I'm going to be seeing if they can improve on. But, it's the kind of thing where I'm also just going to be watching to see if they can improve on one thing without taking 2 steps back in 3 other things. You know, if we can improve on turnovers and tackling and ensuring that the defense is continuing to get pressure like they have, and not committing turnovers as well as, you know, gathering turnovers for yourself. There's a lot of things they have to improve on, and a lot of areas where they could just as easily regress. So what I'm really looking forward to more than a final score is just, let's not regress. Let's build on the things that we're doing well and not fall back on things that we've previously thought we've established this.
We keep saying there's been progress in the team every week so far, and this is why I do believe that when we do start winning, these wins are going to come in bunches. The schedule's not getting any easier, but that's to say we've except for this Jaguars team, we've had a pretty rough schedule up to this point as well. And as long as we're seeing progress every week, I mean, that's what we can really just hope for, especially at this point. But that's going to carry over into next year. And this is why I keep saying, yeah, we had the last 2 crappy years, but we can call those rebuild years after Peyton Manning. But we had no chance to progress the last 2 years with our coaching staff we had. And now we have a coaching staff that people are already saying, oh, we need to we need to examine if this was a bad coaching hire. We're seeing progress across the board. It's not pretty. It's painful, and they're growing pains, but we're still growing. And if you're going to tell me that we're not going to look any better by the end of the season, sitting right here, right now, I don't believe it.
No, absolutely. I don't either. And, with this coaching staff, especially with teachers as good as Vic Fangio and Ed Donatel on defense, and Rick Scangarello, I think, is going to be a really good offensive coordinator in this league. I think he has excellent concepts and excellent play designs mixed in with some stuff that just makes you go, what the hell is going on the field right now? But, we saw plenty of that. What the hell is going on the field right now with Bill Musgrave and Mike McCoy in the last couple of years. And we didn't see anything like the kind of potential out of the stuff that they were calling as we can see out of Scangarello. It's just going to take the players a little longer to get totally acclimated to the scheme, but I think we have seen them come on quite a bit as the years come along already. It's just going to take a little while longer. We've seen Philip Lindsay, for instance. He looked really slow in the first 2 weeks, and these last couple of weeks, he's really come on and kind of looked like himself from last year again. So it's just going to take a little more time with the offense. It's a work in progress, which honestly is a good thing, because if your offense has a lot of success right now, especially the way head coaching hires are going, you could in fact lose Rich Scangarello after a year if your offense is lighting it up on fire, at a certain point, which, I'm not saying I want the offense to look terrible so we can keep Rich Scangarello, but I do want him to have a few years in a row with these offensive players who are so young. And I want him to help them establish identities in this league, because I think he can do it. And I think it's going to be better for us in the long run. So let's, at least on the offensive side of the ball. Let's see. Nathan says, I know it's a little late, but what do you think of us playing more of a 3-4 defense against teams with stud running backs? We have the athletic linebackers to play coverage. I think with the depth that we have at linebacker and the injuries that we already have there, I don't know if you want to be counting on guys to do that. I also don't know who you move to be an in the dirt defensive lineman, because it shouldn't be Von Miller. That's not what he does best. And especially with Bradley Chubb now out, if you're going to run a lot more 3-4 looks, that is who I would say put your hand in the dirt and have him coming from that traditional end spot in a 4-3. But he's out for the season now, as we know, with that torn ACL. And so that was, Malik Reed's definitely not a guy you want putting his hand in the dirt. I've been wondering, and I was wondering yesterday why they didn't have Mike Purcell playing a little more. I don't even know if he was active yesterday. I meant to check and I just didn't.
I didn't see him on the inactives.
Yeah, well, and, a guy with like that, a big body, who you'd think, and showed himself to be a decent run stuffer in the preseason. I was kind of puzzled why we didn't see a little bit more, especially in the second half of him, see a little bit more weight on that defensive line. And, like you, Nathan, that's what I think you're getting at more than anything, is just get a little bit heavier on that defensive line, show a little bit heavier looks than DeMarcus Walker, Adam Gotsis, and Derek Wolfe, who just aren't, who aren't run stuffers. That's not kind of their specialty, especially Derek Wolfe with his age. He used to be a really good all-around 3-4 defensive end. At this point, with the injuries that he has and he has had in his age, he's just not the player he used to be. And unfortunately, I think that's played a big part in our run defense being not as good. But it's not just on him. Like I said, I think it's the fact that we're a little bit light on the defensive line without a guy like Mike Purcell in. I was a little surprised not to see a little bit more of him in the second half. And going forward, we might see a little more of him. Nathan continues give Jones and Walker a shot on the edge. I like that idea.
Yeah,
that's a good point. Yeah, see if those guys can play from a 4-3 end spot. Maybe that's a possibility. If you got guys like Gotsis and Harris running from the middle, Vic Fangio knows how to do that kind of stuff. He knows how to mix up his fronts. He knows how to do mixed coverages on the back end to go with those mixed up fronts. Maybe we'll see a little more creativity with that as the season goes along, and they're kind of forced to evaluate the guys they have. Sure. So I think, I'm like I said, I'm a little surprised we haven't seen a little bit more of that so far.
Sure.
But yeah, maybe that's something we'll be seeing and we should look for as we go ahead into the season.
And I think we should expect to see it. And with the history that Vic Fangio has, if he knows what to do on the defense, nobody should question that.
No.
And Joey says, don't judge us this season. Takes a while for with a new system on both sides. And then he says, I made another comment. Takes a while basically for, the stuff to come together. So don't judge us. These guys are, all learning because they're, all first-time guys. Mm-hmm. Tracy even asked, why does everyone want to get rid of Fangio? And the simple answer is because Broncos country, I think, to some degree, is spoiled. They're like, we need to win now. Yeah. And, there's people who, I'm not saying that they're not diehard fans, but you got to understand some football in that these guys got to develop too. Look, Bill Belichick was not a good head coach when he first became a head coach.
Nope.
Okay, and I can't stand the guy, but you can't say that he's not you can't say that he's a bad head coach. Yeah. But these guys need time to develop and figure out their own identities. And they're going to make mistakes along the way too. And so this is what I'm saying. You see that progression every week. In no way, shape, or form am I sitting here saying we need to evaluate if Vic Fangio should be fired or not. No. And the fact that these things are being published out there, I just can't even believe why, other than like they're trying to get clicks. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I think that's so, unfathomable right now because we are seeing that progress we have not seen since Manning left.
Yeah, that fire Fangio, that's a knee-jerk BS take. And you're not going to get BS on this show. This is Beers, Broncos, and no BS. And sometimes we stray from the beers part. Sometimes we go bourbon, like you say. I'm currently going bourbon right now. But we never stray from the no BS part. And fire Fangio is a BS take. You're not going to hear that on this show.
No, definitely not. And so for everyone watching, again, I appreciate we're holding strong, man, at like 3940 viewers right now. You guys are fantastic.
God bless you, Broncos country.
Yeah, so God. I mean, if you're watching this show right now, man, I can guarantee you that you're one of the diehard fans too. And so the thing is, it sucks. I get it. It sucks because we've seen 4 years of Peyton Manning. We were spoiled out the wazoo. We got to 2 Super Bowls in 4 years, won one of them. But that's not where we are now. Okay, we're a new Broncos team with a new coaching staff. And what we really got to look for is those minor improvements. So for this next game, man, we got to keep up the progress we've made on the pass rush. We can't let that go. Even with Bradley Chubb gone, Malik Reed, he knows his next man up. He's an undrafted free agent. He is licking his chops to make a name for himself, and he knows that going out into this game. Garrett Bowles needs to continue not making those little mistakes, and I'll give him credit where credit's due. We give him a ton of crap here on this show, but we also make sure when he's done something right, we give him credit for that as well. Yeah. But those are some of the 2 things I'm looking for. But David, one of the other things, the freaking turnovers.
Yeah.
We need to find a way to get on the positive side of the turnover game.
For one game. Let's just talk about one game.
Just once.
And go from there. Don't make a stupid interception, Joe Flacco, or don't let a defender just take the ball out of your hands, Noah Fant. Keep a hold of it on offense and make them give it up on defense. Strip sack. And you saw, I give Von Miller all the credit in the world. I just pounded the table. That's how much credit I give to Von Miller. You saw him when he was getting close to the quarterback, trying to get that ball out, not just trying to bring the quarterback down, trying to get the ball on the ground and make a turnover possibility happen.
Right.
I give him so much credit just for understanding. I've got to give, I'm the playmaker on this defense. For so many years, these guys have relied on me to spark this, and I'm going to do my damnedest to make it happen. It didn't happen this week. It wasn't for lack of trying. I do believe he got the ball out once, or one of them did, but
yeah, we just couldn't recover the fumble. Yep.
And God, if I never hear the name Gardner Minshew again, it'll be too soon.
Don't look at the comments then.
Yeah, let's not.
Somebody's
we're not gonna
trying to compliment you and compare you to Gardner Minshew.
Yeah,
but.
no. But that's just like you said. We've got to create some turnovers on the defense somehow. Whether it's a fumble or an interception, something's got to give, and it will. At a certain point, it will this season. But until then, we're all just in agonizing anticipation for it. But at a certain point, you're not going to win a lot of games if your turnover margin is just -6 because your defense can't cause anything. If your defense can't go out there and make a play every so often, you're not going to win a lot of games in this league. And we're seeing it. It's just the way it is for now. But like you said, that's one thing we're going to focus on this week. Last week we saw them break through a little bit on sacks. I would actually venture to guess we are going to break through on turnovers this week. We are going to create at least one. Whether we can keep the offense from giving up a stupid one is a different question.
Right.
But yeah, let's see at least.
Steven says if he got paid millions of dollars to make mistakes, he'd be a billionaire by now, which I can say, yes, Steven, that's correct. But I can also say that me too. And he's just here to make me laugh, and it's working. Okay, guys, tons of good comics. I don't want to go too much further in depth because we do have a pre-game podcast coming up here at the end of the week. Make sure you listen to the post-game podcast. That's going to be up either, if not already, then by tomorrow. Spotify, iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play. Whatever you listen to your podcasts on, I guarantee we're more than likely going to be there. So look up Orange Weekly podcasts, and you can hear those guys. And David's been doing a lot of the pregame ones, so he's been fantastic on those.
Oh, yeah.
Future famous podcaster here you're watching. So
I'll tell you what, if you like the David, you're gonna want to catch the pregame podcast this week and every week. If not, then you're probably gonna, that's not gonna be content that's gonna be relevant to you. Which you should check it out anyway, because we do a really good job on the pregame podcast, like we do on every show.
Yeah, man, you guys, yeah.
So check it out whether you like me or not. I guarantee I'll win you over.
No, we try to bring all the best content to you guys. So before we say goodnight, Neil is once again voting Kev Dan in 2020. David, Jared was going to be my my running mate, but he's like off busy being a super important person in the Navy. So I have an opening if you want to be my vice president candidate here soon.
We're gonna have to consult on some major issues. And as well as I do that we have some disagreements on things like the run pass option, for instance, right. On the 3-4 versus the 4-3 on the zone blitz. So we're do those things. We're gonna continue that conversation off the air, but it's under advisement.
Okay, before we close out, I got a question here about the schedule, so let's pull it up really quickly. I have not filled in the other L's right here yet because it's too painful. Also, I forgot. But we also got, Chargers on the road next week. We're home for 2 weeks. Coming up really closely to that Chiefs game on October 17th. So, David, with your closing thoughts, what are your thoughts on the next couple weeks as well? And just, final words to you, man.
I'll tell you what. Chargers this week, I mean, that's not an easy game. Titans is a winnable game, but the Jaguars was a winnable game. I mean, it was a winnable game right up until the end, and we didn't win it. So I think the Titans you look at as another winnable game. The Chargers is a winnable game if we're able to play like we did in the first half over 4 quarters. If we play over the first half like we did in the first half over 4 quarters, all of the games on our upcoming schedule are winnable games. I don't think that we're going to do that. The team's just not there yet. So over the next couple of weeks, I will be looking for 1 win out of 2 weeks. And if I get that, I will come away a happy camper. I know that sounds like a terrible goal to set, but that's kind of reality when your team is 0-4 and hasn't looked consistently good over the course of 1 game like our team hasn't. You kind of look for the small victories where you can get it. Like we said, incremental improvements. If they get better on this week without regressing, in areas, that's going to be more important to me than the final score this week, especially going into that Titans game, which, like I said, you can beat the Titans if you play competent football for 4 quarters. Can this team do that? Let's find out.
Let's find out. What I like, though, is what you said and what I hope Broncos country remembers. If anything else from this show, we're an 0-4 team, but you're saying the next 4 games are winnable. And I agree. How many 0-4 teams out there are looking at their next few games, including divisional games, and saying these games are winnable? Yeah. You know what I mean? That kind of shows exactly where we're at, and I completely agree with you, man.
I see a path to victory against the Chiefs. It's a very narrow path to victory. It's 1 chance in 1,000, maybe.
Well,
but
the Lions almost did it. Lions gave the NFL a very good blueprint on how to beat the Chiefs.
There's an executable plan there that you can work out the X's and O's to the 4th quarter, and you win that game. But like I said, it takes a team that's able to put 4 quarters together consistently. The team hasn't shown us that so far.
Not yet.
Until they do, they haven't. So
no, completely agree.
Yeah.
Hey, before I say my final piece, Joey, Red Cloud, Steven, I'll even give you a call out. Keith, we got Tracy and Kathy over here, and Joe and Michael. Man, we have a ton of people watching tonight. Neil, how can I forget Neil? He's voting for me for president this next year. Nathan, I mean, all you guys watching tonight. Richard, I can go on and on. Victor, some names that I've seen plenty of times over here, and those names that I'm not calling out doesn't mean that I don't love you. But anyone who's watching, you guys have been fantastic. We always love doing this. I know we're doing it on a Monday instead of a Tuesday, but we will be back next Tuesday on our regular time frame at 7 p.m. Mountain Time for the Beer Broncos No BS show. Once again, check out all of our awesome content on our podcasts, on our shows. Go to patreon.com/orangeweekly to have that chance to win a Broncos jacket this next Saturday night, as well as a end of the season prize as well. And I have been saying, David, that if for those who donate in a particular month, whenever the Broncos win in that month, they get 5 additional entries to both prizes. I'm dying to give people free entries.
A new month is coming, guys. October's coming. You got a whole new chance to win there. Get those 5 extra entries. That's, I mean, sure, September did not work out the way that we wanted to, but we got 1, 2, 3, 4 games in October, guys. You got chances here.
Got chances.
And, we got, if this team comes through for you even once, you get those 5 extra entries. So don't sleep. The Broncos this October. 1-3 in October, guys. 1-3 in October means you a winner, maybe.
Yep. If anything, to the end of the month or end of the year prize. So, guys, these next 4 games are winnable. We are seeing improvements. I'm looking for improvements every single game. That's what you should be looking for right now. Are we going to win the next 12 games? I don't think Ray on his Rager show would take that bet. I probably wouldn't either. But look, we have some wins coming up in our future. There's no way. The one bet I would take is saying that we are not going to be an 0-16 team. That is not going to happen. Wins are on the future. So stay with the Broncos. Keep repping. Whenever people are talking bad about, or not, but saying let's fire everybody, just look at them and smile and be like, nope, that's not going to happen. But stay here with us on Orange Weekly. We're going to be here no matter what. And David, once again, thank you for joining me here once again tonight. Look forward to hearing your nice voice on the podcast coming up this week.
Check out that pregame podcast, guys. Give us a like on Facebook. Give us a retweet on Twitter. We've got check out Ragers, because I swear to God, if you like making money off of Broncos football, everybody here at Orange Weekly has been making quite a bit of quiche off of Ray, and you guys can do that too. If you're into the sports betting at all, that is definitely not a show to miss. Just keep coming, Broncos country. We love it. We love you coming out. Even on a Monday, it's not our normal day of the week, like you said, Kev. But look at the viewers we've got. Look at the comments. Keith, love you guys. Denver Broncos for life. Right back at you, Keith, and to all our viewers. Thanks so much for coming out. Even at 0-4, Denver Broncos fans have got to be some of the best in the country, at least those of us who are, the real fans, because we're going to stick with it to the end, and we hope you're right along with us.
Completely agree. Hey, everyone, have a good night. We'll see you later this week on Sunday. Actually, we'll see you for the pregame show as well as the halftime show. With that being said, enjoy your week, everyone. Take some time to relax, decompress, and get ready for Sunday, man, because we're going to be back on the field fighting for that first win of the season. David, thanks again. Thank you once again. And for everyone else, go Broncos. Take care.
Go Broncos.